Hey guys, Andrew here with Great Lakes Sprouts Media. Today we're going to talk about pH. pH stands for potential hydrogen ions. When you look at a pH scale, it ranges from 0 to 14, 7 being neutral. Most plants like between 5.5 and 6.5. Today I'm going to show you guys how to test it. This is a very important tool to know, especially if you're a beginner gardener or a master gardener. If your pH is out of whack, you get nutrient deficiencies. You also get nutrient toxicities. So this is a really important thing to know, guys. I have a meter here, a little bit more of an advanced meter. You can find them anywhere between $30 on Amazon or other places up to $300. The one I have does pH and TDS. TDS is a whole nother topic we'll talk about in the future. That's for testing total dissolved salts and electrical conductivity. So I have this meter here. I'm going to show you guys how to use it. So today we have a pine tree in front of my house. It's looking very chlorotic, meaning it's lacking chlorophyll, so it looks light green. There's something probably going on with the root zone. So we're going to test the pH first to see what it is. So let's do this, guys. Come on. So here you are, guys. We're looking at a white pine here. You can see it's kind of yellowy. Looks a little bit chlorotic. Look at these other spruces here, a little bit darker. We're going to find out what's going on in the soil here. We're going to show you guys how to take a sample and test it with the litmus paper test. Those are like $7 to $10, and they got meters too. They got expensive meters, like up to $100, up to $300 or less. You know, you get the cheapo ones from China. I'm gonna show you guys one that I have. It's a Blue Lab. You want to gather 1 cup of soil from the root zone, and we're gonna mix this with 1 cup of distilled water. A 1-to-1 ratio. However you want to measure it out, you can do 25 grams and 25 mLs. We're gonna do 1 cup. Really easy. You can get these at the dollar store, you know, any cooking store. You want to get into the root zone here. The plant's roots are growing. This is where it's getting infected. Go ahead and fill this guy up. We're about 6 inches into the ground. Typically pines, this is like acidic soils. Alright, we got 1 cup here. Put this back. So we got our 1 cup of soil. We're going to add to a nice clean jar. Make sure there's nothing in it. These can affect our results as well. We're just going to scoop this into there as best as we can. Don't mind if you lose a little bit of dirt, as long as we're around a cup. So right now the soil's kind of clay. All right, we got our dirt in there. And then we're going to use deionized water, also known as distilled water. It's got 0 parts per million when you read it with a pen. We don't want to use tap water. It's going to skew our results as well. There's ions present in the soil. We want to make sure we're reading everything inside this soil, not stuff from the tap water. There's chlorine, fluoride, and other stuff in there. So we're going to hit our cup. We're going to pour this in. And we're going to let this sit. The longer you let it sit, the better results you're going to get. We're going to wait a few hours. If you guys can wait 24 hours, even better. But about an hour, even a half hour, you can test it a couple times. But we're going to let this one sit for an hour or two, and then we're going to test it. Mix it around once in a while. I'll show you guys the next step here in about an hour or two. So first thing here is you got a Blue Lab. This is an electric meter. Kind of expensive. These are like $300 plus. But you can do parts per million, TDS, which is total dissolved salts, and EC. That's something we'll discuss a little bit more in the future. Another important component to growing. And then we're going to test our pH. This is your pH probe. You want to make sure when you buy one of these, there's a blown glass ball inside of here. Make sure that it doesn't dry out. We store that with just tap water. They make storage solution as well. But I'm going to show you guys how to use this. So a little bit more advanced method here. We have to calibrate this thing. So after so many uses, if it's sitting for a while, we want to calibrate it. And a little bit difficult. Each meter has its own calibration instructions. The Blue Lab has its own. A lot of companies, they should have YouTube videos on how to do them. But I'm going to calibrate this real quick, and then we're going to test. We got our soil soaking back there still with the deionized water, distilled water. We're going to do a test on it. It's been about an hour, and we're going to see what the results are. So this one here requires you to use a pH number 7. There's a pH 10, but the plants we're growing here aren't that high. And then we have a pH 4 solution as well. So I'll take our meter, take the cap off. It's nice because this one has the instructions on the back of it. So I'm going to turn it on. This one says to rinse it in fresh water. Again, I got deionized water here, distilled. And then we're going to place this in our pH 7 solution. And we're going to wait until it hits 7. We're at 7.1 right now. Take some time. As long as we're close to it, you know, we can calibrate at 7.1, but we'll see if it moves down. All right, guys, this one's reading about 7.1. It's not moving, so I'm going to go ahead and hold the calibration button. We're going to wait till the check mark, so that one's calibrated pH 7. All right, we're going to rinse it off again, and then we're going to do the 4. So now we're in the solution of 4. Let's see, it's moving down to 4 now. We want to be close to there. We're trying to get the range, you know, 5.5 to 6.5 is generally most of your plants were growing. So if we're off 1 point, if you're getting real technical, it's a big difference, but this is an older meter too. I've had this one for like 8 years now. So it's reading at 4.1, close enough. I'm gonna go ahead and calibrate this one. So now we're calibrated at pH 4. So we got both check marks, 7.4. This is how this pen works. Like I said, every pen that you get is going to be a little bit different. All right, let's show you guys the next step here. All right, so we're looking at that pine. Like I said, it looked chlorotic. It could be a pH issue, could be a number of other issues. You know, we're playing scientists here, so there's a lot of different variables that come into play. It could be disease or pests. There's a lot of soil pests that can mimic and make it look like a nutrient deficiency. A lot of nematodes can cause these things. With pines, there's different diseases. It could be that the roots are getting too much moisture. The downspot is kind of shooting towards that area, so the soil might be getting overly saturated. But we're going to start first with the pH. I want to show you guys how to do this anyways, because you're going to have to know how to do this for indoor and outdoor plants. So my meter is calibrated. I'm going to go ahead. We got our solution here with our distilled water and the soil that we got from the root zone of the plant. So I'm going to go ahead and put this in there. We're going to see what we read at. So we're going up. We're at 5.4, 5.5, 5.6, 5.7. Going up a little bit. We want to wait till it stabilizes. Oh, it's going up. 6.4. So it's a little bit high for pine trees. We want to be more acidic. You know, 7's neutral, 6.6 is still acidic, but it's getting close to neutral. You know, we're gonna look up and see what exactly pH pines need. I know they're way more acidic. We want to be closer probably to 5.5. So this could be an issue, and you can see the pen still rising. So we're gonna have to do some type of soil amendment. All right, guys, so it's 6.7. So this is the method I'm showing you guys now. It's a little bit more advanced. I'm gonna show you guys the litmus paper test here. This one's actually a dropper one, so it's a little bit, got this for like $7 or $8. So we're gonna try this one. It's not as advanced and it's harder to see the results on it, but if you don't have anything on hand, you know, it's better than nothing. Look, we're at 6.8 now. It's a little bit too high, guys. We need to do some type of an amendment here. You could buy soil test kits from a lot of universities. Look up soil test kits, they'll send them to you, and you can send them the results. They'll tell you how to take the soil sample, you'll send it to the lab, and you'll tell them what you're growing, and they'll give you instructions on how you should amend your soil. You know, we don't want to just start adding stuff to our soil without knowing. Just like you don't go to a doctor and he prescribes you antibiotics without taking a culture. We have to know what's going on in the dirt and the soil first before we start just amending it. You know, doctor wouldn't prescribe you with something without knowing what the underlying bacteria or virus is, you know. So yeah, 6.8 here, guys. So let's show you the other method here. All right, so this one says here fill a test vial half full with the solution to be tested. So we're going to fill this halfway. This is from General Hydroponics. I used to work at a hydro shop. Sold a lot of these, thousands of these to people. Get it on deck. Just going to fill this vial up a little bit. We're about half full there. Next step, add 3 to 5 drops of pH test indicator to vial. Tap the side of the test vial to mix contents. Observe the color in the test vial. So right here we're between 4 and 8.5. See, the problem with this is the soil here, the dirt, you know, it might skew our color, so it's gonna be a lot harder to read it. But so we're gonna go ahead and add 3 to 5 drops. Make sure you mix this up. Good stuff blowing around. Start with 3 drops first. Go ahead and close this. It says just to tap the side of the test vial to mix the contents. I'm gonna go ahead and mix it pretty good. Yeah, see the brown color here of the soil might be a little bit harder to test. That's the only downside with these pH test kits. These are more to use if you're using for nutrients, like if you're adding nutrients to just straight water, you're going to get a more accurate reading. It's going to be kind of hard to tell since you got the dirt in there. So ideally, if we're doing soil tests, we want a more advanced meter like that, guys. This is going to be good for testing pH inside of for your nutrients. So if you're fertilizing your plants, you're adding a couple mLs of some type of fertilizer to your water. It's not going to change the color of the water, so better test it. So this method isn't really the best here. There are other cheaper pH test kits, but we're not going to go ahead and use this one. So we know for sure from here we're at 6.8 from this meter, and that's definitely too high. We did our test with the meter. It seems to be most accurate. Right at 6.8. We're supposed to be at 5.5. This test kit here, not necessarily the best. You know, like I said, this is more for indoor growers. If you're adding a little bit of nutrient to your water and the water is clear, you'll be able to read the color. You know, we can find other kits too online, ranging from anywhere from 30 to 300 bucks. You know, if you're gonna invest in a better one, it's gonna last you a lot longer as long as you take care of it. There's a lot of myths out there that say, adding pine chips to the top of the plant will help acidify the soil. A lot of university research says that it's barely going to make a dent in changing the pH. And also sphagnum peat moss, you can amend that into the soil. It's going to help a little bit, but ultimately the best thing to do, from doing my research and looking at universities, is adding elemental sulfur. You can buy elemental sulfur from a lot of agricultural supply stores, or we can use, there's a product here. I got this at Home Depot or gardening store. You can find them anywhere pretty much. Not promoting these guys or anything, but what I saw was for acid lovers. And right here we got hydrangeas, blueberries, and evergreen. So in this situation we got the pine. Look at the back here, and I was saying earlier sulfur, so we got potassium sulfate. So that sulfur in there is going to help lower it. But if you can find elemental sulfur, depending which product you get, they're going to tell you guys how much to add, per water to each plant, how often to bring the loads. The elemental sulfur is going to be more quicker results. You'll see the pH slowing down in a few days, up to a few weeks, So if you keep up on that. Another method, we have pH down. There's pH down and pH up. We could also pH down our water to 5.5 and water it every day with that to help bring it down. That's more used for indoor growing. If you're growing indoor crops or potted plants, because the root zone in the area, the pH fluctuates a lot more, especially for using different fertilizers. But there you guys have it. There's some methods here, and I hope these help you out. So let's go amend the soil here. I'm going to add a little bit of this fertilizer, and we'll check the pH here in the next few weeks, see if it's helping. And but the purpose of this video really, guys, is to show you how to test pH. So now you guys have this key, this tool in your arsenal. You guys are going to be more successful gardeners. So let's go see the pine tree here and add some of this nutrient. All right, guys, got my 1 cup here. Just gotta go ahead and top dress it so leach into the soil. You can rake this into, most fertilizers you shouldn't touch with your hands. This stuff's organic. Doesn't have anything that's gonna burn my hands. So there you guys have it. We added our fertilizer, but ultimately we want to choose the right plant for the right spot. So I'm looking at this pine tree. What's probably going on, like I said before, that gutter is shooting right next to that pine and leaching all that nutrient down. It's not getting soaked, but the slope of the water coming down is leaching out the nutrients. Because I'm looking at the other pines, they're doing pretty well. Even if I start to add elemental sulfur to it, I want to make sure I fix that water coming out that down spot and try to revert it to a different area. Choosing the right plant for the right spot is crucial here. Even when you buy a property, make sure you do soil tests before you just start planting and investing a lot of stuff. I know a story of a guy that invested a lot of money into a hops farm, lots of equipment. Come to find at the end, he goes to harvest his hops, it's got arsenic in it. So we want to do a soil test not only for pH, but making sure we put in the right plant in the right spot, because it's going to be really hard to keep fighting that pH. But like I said, what's going on with this pine tree is most likely a lot of nutrients are getting diverted out from leaching. We're gonna be able to fix this thing. I'm gonna show you guys a video in the future here of how healthy this pine's gonna look. I have a good feeling this is gonna work out. But there you guys have it. So thanks for watching. If you guys have any more questions, please comment below. Don't forget to like and subscribe button, guys.